How's it going, everybody? It's your boy Jose, aka TheNYCGeek, aka TNG, aka your Elden Lord. Even House Targaryen's Elden Lord, if you could believe it. Aka the guy who's wishing you all a happy Monday. I hope you guys had a great weekend, an amazing one. And I am coming off the cusp of having just watched House of the Dragon on HBO. I watched it last night with my wife when it aired, and I watched it again early this morning, and I gotta tell you, that episode was awesome. It was fantastic. Oh my God. Huh. What a relief. Look, I I am genuinely relieved because and it's gonna sound like I'm gushing, but you gotta believe me. Look, because not only was the first episode incredible, but it felt so good to have something not be that message filled piece of shit that She-Hulk was. That garbage, okay? Which was an absolute insult to both men and women. Okay, let's be honest. It was an insult to women as well. Easily the biggest pile of shit that Marvel has put out, even over Miss Marvel. And then, so you got She-Hulk over here, right? This pile of shit over here. And then you're like, oh man, that shit smells. Let me turn away. But then when you try to turn away, over here's another pile of shit on the horizon, Rings of Power. And you're like, oh God, that's gonna just be a fucking black hole. That whole series of just trash. And you're like, oh no. I got shit over here. I got shit over here. But thankfully, it's like a nice rain comes in and just washes it away for a little bit. And you got this episode, which look, I know, it's it's only the first episode. I get it. So Jose, I know you guys are telling me, Jose, calm the fuck down, okay? But it's just so refreshing to have something start off so well because I know, believe me, I know that it can get a lot worse. I trust me, I cannot stand seasons 5, 6, 7, 8 of Game of Thrones. They're terrible. Some people think, oh, 8 was so bad. No, dude. 7, 6, and 5 were horrendous. They were awful. Okay, they were horrible. So starting from season 5, so I get it. It can go from like, whoa, look at the top. Because the first half of Game of Thrones was incredible. Some of the best writing you'll see. And phenomenal acting. Some of the scenes there are just like, holy shit. But you know, so I know it can go from here to down here, but it's not. I think that we're going to see hopefully a competent group of writers with George Martin more at the helm, that we will see some quality storytelling. We won't have the idiots like David and Dan Benioff. I think HBO has realized, holy shit, these two morons were fucking awful. Let's get in some real good fucking writers. And look, I have my complaints on George Martin. I do. He's a jack off who doesn't appreciate and insults his fans. But the guy can weave a tale. He truly can. And we see that so far in this first episode. The storytelling in just the first episode alone, they establish lore, the characters. Already there's like intrigue happening, which that's what people tuned into Game of Thrones for, was to watch the Game of Thrones being played, not for cheap ass gratuitous nudity and mindless action that was terribly edited and made no sense. I still to this day can't fucking stand the sight of Gendry running from the lake and making it into Castle Black, and then the Raven making it to Daenerys at Dragonstone, and then she making it over to fucking Castle Black, and then beyond the wall with her dragon in like half a night or however long that was. Dude, that show ended so poorly, and thankfully, I hope we're not going to get that. Okay, I hope we are not going to get that. So far, the acting here, holy crap. Matt Smith and the actor who plays the king, who, I'm sorry, I'm going to butcher his last name. I wish I could pronounce it. It's like Patty Considine or Patty Considine. I'm sorry. I am sorry, but those two, they have a scene in the episode that was like Tyrion and Tywin levels of fantastic. Like that tension whenever those two characters would interact, you're like, oh. And it's not just them. The acting's really good. Millie Alcock, she was great as Rhaenyra, and they did change a few things here in the book, Rhaenyra and Alicent's ages, but I think it's fine. I think actually it's going to work out better because they're going to avoid a few tropes by pairing them together. And I think that's going to work, especially for the story that they're telling on the screen. Maybe something I always say there's some things that work well in a book, Might not be able to put it on the screen. I understand that. That's fine. That's what an adaptation is. I don't have problems with minor changes, especially as long as it keeps, the core of it the same, and that you're not doing these changes to try to put some fucking ideology or check off checklists. The costumes and the set pieces, let me tell you, I am not a medieval historian in any way, shape, or form, not at all. But I thought that the armors looked really cool. They were like different types. The and so much props for the people who work on these shows. They are so damn talented, especially the Targaryen outfits, because obviously they're the ruling houses, but it all looks so good. And speaking of looking good, so did the dragons. The CGI was great. Not fucking She-Hulk CGI, which there were times where her CGI was fine, but there were other times when she does that transformation in front of the bar. Oh, holy shit. It looks like a Muppet. But the dragons weren't like just far off shots. There's a scene, I could say it's not a spoiler. It happens in like the first 2 minutes. Like Rhaenyra just puts her face against the neck of one of the dragons, and it looks so real. It looks so good. It looks so good. And I said that the set pieces, and I said, like the set pieces and stuff like that. But yeah, we're seeing like the Targaryens at the height of their power. So this takes place, like I think they said 172 years before Daenerys. So we get to see Harrenhal and, the actual Iron Throne look imposing. Like King's Landing looks great. And I want to go, and I want to go back on the Iron Throne for a second, because holy shit, it looked like a conquering king's seat. Like I get, they could always justify and say that, Robert, and especially the Mad King, because he would always, cut his hands and scrape his arms and stuff like that. That's why they would call him like King Scab, because he was just such an inept fool. And they, I apologize. And they wanted to make it look as scary as when like Aegon was still sitting there. The first time, like it looks like a concrete, like it looks like you don't want to be on the bad side of whoever's sitting on that throne. It's incredible. Like it looks like Aegon's throne, like where he's sitting there and there's swords melted to the ground that are leading up to the throne. The swords of the lords who bent the knee to him. It's just, incredible. And there's action, there's brutality. Oh, there's some brutal stuff. But again, it's all told well. Okay, it's all told well. The small council at its peak without missing any members. This was so good. I keep saying it, but it was more than good. It was great. It was excellent. It was they had a tourney with a joust and some melee. I felt like I was in fucking medieval time. Well, medieval times, the restaurant, obviously. I felt like I was at medieval times, like the dinner show place. Ooh, and you watching the people fighting and the, jousting, and obviously it's more theatrical in medieval times. Here, it was visceral, like, holy shit, they're fucking, splitting their skulls with axes. It's great. Awesome. And I want to touch on something that I was a little worried, because you hear me like, whoa, I'm really fucking hyped about it. I will admit, I was a little worried. Some of the cast had said some things that had me a little concerned that, they were going to drown this in ideology and not just focus on telling a good story. You could touch on certain things, but, like I've always said, do it subtly with improper storytelling. But so far I didn't get any of that. And, none of the on the nose stuff. If anything, it was refreshing to see the king portrayed as a loving husband, a caring father, maybe a little bit of an absentee dad, but he's, clearly does care for his daughter. And yes, he has to make a difficult decision. I'll not say what it is, but you can clearly see how agonized he is about this. Okay. It's, again, credit to that actor, credit to the actor. And I cannot stress enough how awesome this first episode was. I know I can go downhill. So I'm trying to temper my expectations. It's hard, because when you love a setting like Westeros and the characters there, and you want to see it do really well, and when you do see it do well, you're like, hype. And you got it. There's that rational part of you who's like, dude, calm the fuck down. Remember how the latter half went. So I get it. But just judging on this episode alone, it was fantastic. It felt like I said, the first half of Game of Thrones, when there was riveting dialogue, wonderful storytelling, intrigue, and all these schemes galore. great costumes, well done action. I cannot wait now for Sundays again. And I truly hope that this show continues to shine. Because my hopes are that this will do something to my actual hopes is that this show is so fucking amazing that it will negatively impact Rings of Power and their viewership. I do. I want people to be like, well, I can watch this really mediocre show, or I can watch this really amazing show. And as much as I love Lord of the Rings, and I look, Game of Thrones doesn't hold a candle to Lord of the Rings and Tolkien's works. But in terms of what we're getting presented on screen, I think people will be like, well, I know that Game of Thrones has that name power, that recent name power in shows. And I hope that it negatively impacts their viewership, and that, because I want nothing for that series. I want nothing for Ring of Power than to burn in Dragonfire. So don't let me down, House of the Dragons, because I'm hyped. I'm really hyped. I think you guys can see how hyped I am. So please, 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 just, you don't even have to get better than this episode, because this episode was already fantastic. So stay at this level and you're golden. You're golden. I'm telling you all, check it out. If you haven't already, I don't want to ruin anything. So just check it out because it was amazing. Anyway, this has been the NYC Geek. If you've enjoyed this kind of content, please make sure to hit that subscribe button. Hit it right now. Also, while you're at it, please consider hitting that like, that share button, that freaking bell so you can know when another video goes live, because, you know, YouTube is terrible at those kind of things. Leave a comment down below. I love to engage with all of you. I try my absolute best to respond to everybody in the comments. Let me know. Did you enjoy the episode? Did you watch it already? What are some of the things that you loved? If you didn't like it, let me know. I also love, you know, I try to, you know, engage in discourse to everybody. So if it was great and you loved it, tell me. If you hated it, tell me. What are some of the, what if you did enjoy it, what are some of your favorite parts? What do you think is going to happen? I know clearly the story's already been told in the books, but maybe they might alter a few things just to try to keep people on their toes. I hope nothing too crazy to ruin the narrative, but they might. And if you haven't already, please make sure to follow me over on twitch.tv/TheNYCGeek, where I stream regularly on Sundays, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, as well as follow me on that filthy cesspool that is Twitter. Woo, it's fucking gross out there right now, especially because, you know, you got the Marvel consumers out there trying to talk about how great She-Hulk was. It's a shit show out there. But follow me on Twitter to stay appraised of everything. Remember, always, your time is precious, and I do truly, truly thank you all for sharing it with me. Please stay safe, take care of each other, and I'll see you guys next time.